Tonight, a government report blames high temperatures and low river flows for the environmental disaster in the state's west.
The fish kill in Western New South Wales is something that has been absolutely devastating.
One man critical and 2 others injured after a dog attack in Sydney's west. The Defence Minister flies into China and a diplomatic storm over the detention of an Australian writer. US diplomats ordered out of Venezuela after Donald Trump recognises the country's opposition leader as its legitimate president. And Adelaide swelters through a 46-degree day, and the hot weather is heading our way. Good evening, Juanita Phillips with ABC News. It's the last thing regional communities want to hear, but the state government is warning them to brace for more fish kills. An interim report into the recent disaster has found that drought, a lack of river flows and algal blooms have been a deadly combination. The opposition has seized on the findings, claiming poor management of the river system is to blame. State political reporter Bridget Glanville.
Hundreds of thousands of dead fish. A once thriving river now seems more like a stinking swamp. The government says it's an ecological disaster.
What has led to these 2 fish kills is basically low oxygen levels because of poor water quality in the Darling River. This has been a combination of the mixing of not only hot and cooler water, but also the presence of blue-green algae because of that low flow and the poor water quality.
The government says the drought has also contributed to the problem, but there are other factors. In 2012, the New South Wales government cut 60% of its funding to the native fish program in the river.
That has now been restored. We have had assurances from Canberra now and the MDBA that that money was going to be spent in the right areas, and we've restored that funding.
The opposition says the damage is done and the state government has allowed too much water to be released from the river and Menindee lakes.
It's empty. From 480 gigalitres to 0. That's Niall Blair's responsibility. And as bad as the situation is in Menindee and on the Darling today, it will get worse.
But this is where the decades-old blame game begins. New South Wales controls the Menindee lakes when its water level gets to 487 gigalitres. Above that, the federal government is in charge, and today New South Wales is blaming Canberra.
We get control when there's very little water in Menindee. We don't have control when the lakes are full. That has been the case for decades. Menindee lakes are an important part of the Murray-Darling Basin system, and if anyone wants to stand from Canberra or any other state and hand on heart say that they're willing to give the control of the lakes solely when they are full to New South Wales, I'll eat my hat.
Water quality is one thing, but quantity is another. Residents in several outback towns now face the very real prospect of running out of water. Today, the government said it won't let that happen. And with a number of regional seats now under threat, that's a promise they'll be certain to keep. Bridget Glanville, ABC News.